We got top end kit in the mail today. It's awesome. I already kind of opened it up, checked it out, measured some things, but I'm going to go back through it again real quick. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to measure the piston. Yeah, it's stamped on top what it is. That's cool. I don't care. We're going to measure the piston, and then we're going to measure it to the cylinder to check the piston clearance, just to make sure that we're within spec there, and so we kind of know how much wear limit we have. So the first thing I'm going to do is just open up the piston, check it out, and then I'm going to put it in this micrometer here. Basically, you just take the micrometer, put it in the vise here, not real tight, just to hold it, because you got to be fumbling around with stuff. Take the piston out of the box. And then a 1/2 inch up the piston. So we're going to go just below this exhaust port here. And, well, the intake port, sorry. Across the skirt, and we're just going to measure that. We'll put it in here right where it's just touching it. And it's right there. Lock that in. Set the piston aside. Then take a dial bore gauge or snap gauge, whatever you want to do. You can actually take a snap gauge and snap the cylinder, measure it again and see how close you are here. But if you have a dial bore gauge, it's a little bit easier. I already have the end here that I need in it, and I already have it zeroed. If I can get it in here, I'll show you. Oh, you saw it there, right? Now we're going to measure the top of the cylinder here. This is all in reference to the size of the piston. We're not really measuring this, because if you want to measure this, you got to look in the book, figure out what's close or what the cylinder is supposed to be, set that up on the micrometer, then set it up in the dial gauge and see how far off you are. But this, we're just going to set it in there about, you know, a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch. Going to rock it back and forth and see where the highest spot is. Right there, right. 3 ticks, so that's 0.0015. And our limit's 1/6, so that's good there. It's actually a little tight there. We'll go this way for the hell of it. This one's a little looser. It's like 1/6, so that one's right on the money. Then if you want, you can flip the cylinder upside down and measure what they call the B, which is the bottom here, and that's 1/5. That's good. Nice tight piston. We know it's going to work. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ring in there and measure the end gap, and then I can start assembling things. I also, when you check cylinders like that, it's always good to check 4 different spots. Go intake to exhaust and the cross ports. So then you can see if the cylinder's wearing oddly. I mean, I'm supposed to go all the way down in there for the C measurement in the middle. In reality, you just want to make sure that your piston clearance is within spec, and you want to make sure that your ring gap is close. Well, within spec. Because if it's too close, that ring's going to expand and it's going to start taking out the sidewalls of your cylinder. So we just want to make sure that's good. It probably is, because a lot of these piston kits, they come for this bore because it's your standard bore. It's a standard bore kit. But your cylinder's old. You've been using your cylinder for a while. This is a 98, so you want to make sure that your cylinder's still good at that point. I'm going to go ahead and measure this ring gap, and I'll check back in with you after that. So what we're going to do is take a file and file the tips of these so it opens up that gap. You don't have to be too fancy with it, just remove some of that material. Then I always put a little bit of a bevel on this edge, just to kind of deburr it. There we go. There's a tight 20. I'll take it. Leaves a little bit of room for wear, and it's within spec. Alright, let's start assembling. Alright, now I have to check the timing. There's a special tool that goes in there that I like to use. It's right here in my hand. Let me show you how this works. It is a spark plug that I drilled and tapped 3 holes so I can put a dial indicator, dial gauge here. Close enough. Yeah. And we take this, thread it into here. So we see the gauge move. We really don't need to bottom it out. We just need to get it. We know we're at top dead center, or pretty damn close to it right now. What we're doing with this is we're actually going to find top dead center and measure, I think it's 10,000ths before. I'll look it up in the book again. We're looking at this line right here on the flywheel and this line right here on the stator plate. So right now we're at top dead center. Yeah, they're off. That doesn't necessarily mean that the timing's off. What we need to do is we need to find 20,000ths before top dead center. Right now we're at top dead center. Arrow's pointing this way, so that means that the engine's turning this way. So we're going to rotate it back 20,000ths. Right, top dead center before 10, 20,000ths. And it looks like I'm exactly where I need to be. I didn't do this, I guessed, but that's pretty damn close to where I need to be. Now if you look at the mark up here, the arrow, that doesn't mean anything. That just means that you need to have the stator plate on that cog. I got the motor done. It's all together. Plug some of these orifices real quick. And then I got to get wood ripper off the stand. Put the 98 back on the stand here. Get the motor back into it. And carburetor, airbox on it. Hopefully I can get it all together so I can start it, put it through its first heat cycle tomorrow. And then from there I can call up the kid that owns it and ask him, okay, well, you want me to put this all together for you or do you want to come get it? So when I got it from him, I asked for everything just in case, just so I can make sure I get him a complete bike back. But after thinking about it and things like that, he's fully capable of putting everything back together. I just want to make sure that the bike runs. when it leaves here. So I just told him to bring everything to make sure that I got everything that I needed. Instead of like, oh, I forgot the pipe, or oh, I forgot the silencer, or oh, I got the silencer, but there's no subframe on it type deal. So I just asked for everything. It's kind of easy that way too. If I get in the zone, I could probably put it all together. It'll take me probably an extra half hour, so it's not a big deal to me. I hate charging by the hour. I just charge flat rate, so, and just beer, really. So I'm going to go ahead and get Woods Ripper off the stand, get the 98 back up on there, and put this motor back in. Alright, we're back on the stand, and I think I finished a beer but didn't grab one. This is not good. Alright, well, I got the 98 all back together. There's a couple things that need to be addressed. Well, not necessarily addressed, but I need to talk to the kid about. The 2 bolts that hold the tank on, didn't have those. Fork seals are leaking. The bumper here on the rear shock, maybe I can get a suspension service hooked up for them. God, I don't even know if there's anything in there. I haven't put it down yet. I'll know if it's springy or not, or what's going on with that. But I'm just here to do the engine. It's back in. Bike's back together. Tomorrow, fuel's in it. Mixed up fuel. Put that in it. My break-in procedure is, I don't know if it's unorthodox or not, or what it is. There's big controversy over it all. My thing is that I think the book says run it at 20-1. You're adding more oil, which is more lubrication, which is not allowing the rings to seat, if that makes any sense. So I mix it at like 32. I mean, that's what I'm going to run, 32, 40-1. Just take it easy. Put it through a heat cycle. Tomorrow I'm going to start it. I got to put coolant in it yet because he's just going to run the green coolant. I'm not going to I don't have enough Evans to put in. I only have about a half a quart, and that's overflow for me. So I'll go and grab some green stuff, some Prestone or whatever the hell you call it, PG, PPG, or the green stuff. I'll put that in it. Start it up, let it idle for a while. I might ride it around the yard, but normally I start it up, put it through a heat cycle, let it idle for a little bit, let it get hot to the point you can put your hand on the radiator cap and it's warm. Engine cases, feel those, feel the clutch case. If that's warm, then turn it off, let it cool down, start it up, ride it around, kind of pony it around for a little bit. Maybe do like a half a lap, or if you have like a little loop, a 2-mile loop or something set up, kind of putt around there. Don't really get into the power valve, and then get back to the truck, shut it down, put the rest of your gear on, get ready to ride, let it cool down for, a half hour or whatever. Then get on it and hammer down. By that time, it's gone through enough repetitions. It's, if anything's gonna break, if anything's gonna come loose, it's gonna come loose. Retorque the head after the first heat cycle. That's why I want to do it here. Retorque a couple things. The base gasket, or the base bolts, the 4 of them there, and a couple nuts and bolts around the frame. Engine mounts I'll retorque, and then send it away. You know, call the kid up, have him come get it, and hopefully he calls me back because he wants the oil changed or some shit in it. I don't know. Or he wants to tune it. Who knows? So, it's 1:42. I'm going to finish my beer. Write some things down, like I said. Those tank bolts, fork seals. Gotta talk to him about air filter maintenance because it is a brand new engine. I put an hour meter on it for him. Right there. 0 hours. It's kind of a cool thing. It's not 0 chassis hours, but hey, your engine's at 0 hours, so I'll take it, right? Talk to him about change of oil, maintenance intervals, what we can do about that, what he can do about it, what oil's in there, things like that. Just go over a couple things with him, pointers, things that I know. He's 18, so give him some things to think about if he wants to make this thing last a little bit for him. If he just wants to ride it for a year and get rid of it, then, I mean, still, let him know. Air filter every ride. Look at it at least. I mean, if you're going to go put around a farm for a little bit, you probably don't have to change your filter, but you got to look at it because if it's dirty, you want to keep that piston clean. And that's like the first thing that's going to happen is if any bit of air gets through or any bit of dirt gets through that filter, goes through the carb, into the cylinder, and you're just wasting your money there. So air filter maintenance, air filter maintenance, air filter maintenance. Write some things down, and I'll see you guys later.